You ever notice how your best ideas almost never show up when you're staring at a blank screen? Instead, they hit you in the shower or when you're out for a walk or right as you're about to fall asleep. It's kind of funny, right? Well, let's dive into that because today we're exploring this really cool idea that our best, most profound creativity doesn't come from hustling harder. It comes from learning the art of the pause. And who better to kick us off than Albert Einstein himself, right? I mean, this quote, it basically sums up everything we're talking about today. It's not about grinding away endlessly. It's about what happens in those quiet spaces in between. That exact moment when you stop thinking, yeah, that's where the magic really is. So our first section is called A Muse in Stillness. And this is where we're going to start to reframe how we think about rest. It's not just empty time. It's actually the fertile ground where our best ideas are just waiting to sprout. Let's actually give this idea a name. The rhythm of rest. Think about it like music. A great song isn't just about the notes you play. It's the silence, the rests between the notes that give it shape and power. Well, this is the same idea. Intentional stillness is that essential beat, that rhythm that fuels true creativity. We're all searching for that eureka moment, that big flash of lightning. But more often than not, creativity is way more like a slow brew. It's about setting up the right conditions and just letting those ideas simmer and develop instead of trying to force them out. And when that slow brew is finally done, that's when you get what we're calling a frozen moment. It's that point of cultivated perfection, a scientific theory, a piece of art that lasts forever. And it's not achieved by force, but through that deliberate, reflective pause. Okay, so to really see this whole principle in action, we're going to take a look at Japan. This is a culture that has literally built creative stillness into its DNA for centuries. See, in Japan, stillness isn't just the absence of noise. It's a deeply cultivated art form. And you won't find a better example of this than the traditional tea ceremony, which is known as chanoyu. It is a ritual where every single movement, every action, is just steeped in mindfulness. In chanoyu, everything from whisking the matcha to carefully placing a single flower, it's an unhurried, deliberate pause. The point isn't just to make tea quickly, it's to craft this one-of-a-kind, totally mindful experience. And this rhythm, it goes way beyond just tea. You can see it in the haiku poetry of Matsuo Basho, who found these incredible words just by meditating next to a silent pond. You can feel it in the architecture of Tadao Ando, who uses what he calls concrete silence to create the sense of awe. It's a whole cultural mindset of perfecting the details through the pause. But here's the thing. This idea isn't just a Japanese thing. Not at all. Let's zoom out a bit and see how this exact same rhythm of rest pops up as a universal pattern among some of the greatest minds in all of history. Just look at Albert Einstein and Leonardo da Vinci. I mean, two totally different fields, different centuries, but they shared a surprisingly similar method. Einstein, he would take these long walks and play his violin to let his mind wander. Da Vinci, he spent years just sketching and reflecting. Their methods of rest were different, sure, but the results were those legendary frozen moments, the theory of relativity, and the Mona Lisa. So what we're seeing is this really powerful connection, right? The individual habits of these Western geniuses directly mirror the cultural practices from the East. It points to a universal truth. Creativity doesn't just put up with pauses. It absolutely thrives when we step back and give it room to breathe. But it's not all inspiration and light bulb moments. To get the whole picture, we really have to look at the other side of this coin. This intense, deep focus on perfection through stillness, well, it can have some hidden costs. And if you look here, you can see a consistent pattern. The very same stillness that fuels all this creativity can also cast a pretty long shadow. In Japan, it can sometimes lead to cultural exclusion. And for geniuses like Einstein and Da Vinci, that intense focus often led to isolation from their families and, well, some pretty annoyed patrons. So this really brings up a key tension, right? The intense focus needed for these creative breakthroughs has to be balanced. If you don't have that connection to the outside world, the relentless pursuit of perfection can lead straight to isolation. It's a really delicate dance. Okay, so we've looked at the history, the culture, even the potential downsides. Now let's bring it all back home. How can we take this incredible idea and actually make it work for us in our own lives? How do you find your rhythm? Let's start with just a number. 20%. What could that possibly mean when we're talking about creativity and rest? And here it is. This isn't just some nice-sounding philosophy. There is actual science behind this. The American Psychological Association found that a simple 10-minute pause, that's it, just 10 minutes, can boost our creative problem-solving skills by 20%. That's an absolutely massive return on investment for doing nothing. So how can you start doing this? Well, you have to be intentional about it. Carve out some deliberate time to just reflect. It doesn't have to be hours. Give your ideas permission to just brew with zero pressure. Find some quiet solitude to really connect with what's going on in your head. That's how you make the space for your own frozen moments to show up. When it comes right down to it, what we've seen today, from Japanese tea masters all the way to German physicists, is that maybe the most powerful tool for creativity isn't a tool at all. It's a space. The universal canvas for genius, for art, for those breakthrough ideas. It's found in deliberate stillness. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Whether it's through a walk in nature, listening to music, meditation, or maybe just a quiet cup of tea, how do you find your quiet muse?